Okay, we're going to look at some problems here with fractions, multiplication and division of fractions, and there are three different types that I'm going to show you. Here's the first one. If you remember from the other fractions video, it's really important that the children concentrate, look at the information they're given, and then reason about what it is they need to do. So we've got 1/4 times 3. Now multiplication is just repeatedly adding the same number. So all I'm actually doing here is, and I'll put this in brackets to show my thinking, 1/4, add 1/4, add 1/4. And when the children remember that and think about that, they can simply see, oh, that's 3/4. Now some children have made the link to the fact that actually here all we're doing is the numerator times by the multiplier, 1 times 3, 3/4. But it's important they have that understanding about what's going on with that problem. The next one, at first glance, looks a lot more challenging. We've got 1/8 multiplied by 1/2. Okay, now this is a bit confusing, this one, because actually fractions are all about division. So what we're actually doing is finding 1/2 of 1/8. Okay, if I draw you a visual picture to think about that, here's my 1/8. So I've split my rectangle into 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts, and there's my 1/8. Okay, when I'm multiplying by 1/2, all I'm actually doing is effectively finding half of that fraction. Okay, I'm splitting it into 2. So here I've split it into 2, so now my new denominator is 16, and I'm just interested in this half here. So the answer to that one is 1/16. Again, children have quickly spotted a strategy here. If you times the top numbers, 1 times 1 is 1, and times the bottom numbers, 8 times 2, you get the same answer. And we've tested that theory and we've proved it. We just need to remember that strategy when it comes to answering this particular type of fractions problem. The last one we're going to look at is dividing a fraction, and this is called a unit fraction because it's just got a number 1 at the top, dividing that by a whole number. So here we've got 1/5 divided by 4. Again, I can draw a pictorial model to represent that. Here's my fifths. There's 1/5. And when I'm sharing into 4, I'm just simply splitting that into 4 groups. And you'll remember from the previous video, you can quickly see that that has got 5, 10, 15, 20. So my new denominator is 20. Okay, and then in one of these groups, I've got 1/20. So 1/5 divided by 4 is 1/20. And actually, the children have spotted that all you've got to do here is times the denominator by the divisor. 5 times 4 gets us our 20th. That one's a little bit confusing, but if you think about it like this, if I had a cake and I bought 1/5 of that cake into school and I wanted to share it between 4 people, I've got to make the fraction smaller for each person to have a piece of that cake. Okay, and that's where that 20th comes in.